Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Advice from a Call Center Geek, the call center and contact center podcast, where we try to give you some actionable items, take back into your contact center, improve the overall quality, improve the agent experience, hopefully improve the customer experience as well. My name is Tom Laird. I am the CEO of Expedia Interaction Marketing. Expedia is a 600-seat call center outsourcer located here in sunny, hot, northwestern Pennsylvania. All right, we're going to jump right into this. If you've listened to the last couple of episodes, you know that we've been kind of talking about Marc Bernstein here and his company, which is Balto. And oh, damn it, Balto.
Tom,
Sorry.
we could keep going with that.
Right, we will. All right, Balto, everyone. It's Balto. Sorry, Mark. I practiced too. That's a great start. And you're talking about real-time guidance, real-time QA, real-time coaching. Some of the things when Mark, when you and I had, and I'm going to have you introduce yourself here in a second, but when we had kind of our pre-calls, you were really the first organization that I saw doing this for real. Everybody's kind of talking about even real-time guidance, real-time transcription, right, from the analytics standpoint. And your company is really taking speech analytics and making it an actual tool that we're using in real time. So I don't screw this up again, can you just introduce yourself, Mark, and kind of talk about your company? And then I want to give to, you're 28 years old, which is pretty awesome for what you guys are doing, for especially at your age. It's tremendous. And I want to just talk about the start of the company from the kind of the entrepreneurial side as well. But if you can just give kind of a quick intro and talk about your organization.
Tom, absolutely. And to start, I will set the record straight. It is Balto. Balto.
I'm writing ball down right now.
So we started the company right around 4.5 years ago. And before Balto, I'm Marc Bernstein. I'm the CEO. Before Balto, I was in B2B SaaS. So and the solution I was selling was actually helping sales folks better manage the opportunities in their pipeline. So it was that enterprise SaaS sales space, and I think we've all seen that in the SaaS space, a lot of SaaS people sell to other SaaS companies.
Yeah.
And it's very network focused. But one of the things that I noticed while I was there is I would go into my manager's office for coaching, and the manager would close the door and pull up the call recording, and we'd go through it, and he would start giving a bunch of really good advice. It's all the advice that we give our agents, if they're sales agents or customer service agents, all the time. Things like, don't talk too much. Think about how fundamental it is to not talk too much. Ask good questions. Make sure that you use active listening to confirm back to the customer you understand them. Don't just assume you understand them, move on to the next point, all that stuff. And the experience I had is I would leave his office after sales coaching thinking, wow, I just learned so much. That was great. And then get to the next call and apply none of the stuff I had just learned 15 minutes ago. And I was like, there has to be something I can do to bridge the coaching that I'm receiving, in that case, after the fact, with needing to apply that coaching in the moment right there on the call when I need it. So that was the inspiration for real-time guidance, is that it's one thing to have intelligence about what you should do. Best practices are the best thing is to do. It's another thing to do it in the moment you need to do it. So we say that we're moving the speech analytics world from conversation intelligence, where you're getting insights about your calls, to actually applying those insights in conversation excellence. What does it look like if your entire organization is having consistently excellent conversations with your customers? And the contact center world now is getting more and more excited about that prospect of investing in your customer conversations than ever.
No, I think that's a really good kind of lead into everything here. I have spoken and done so many episodes on speech analytics from kind of the perspective that you're talking about, right? From that kind of, I don't want to say, I mean, the technology is so new, but still we're talking about like old school, like the old school way, whatever that means with analytics. When you're getting sentiment scores, you're getting trending keywords, right? That have kind of already happened in the past. And again, everyone has been talking. I have been talking every time I do hey, in 2025, here's the 5 technologies to look out for. The real-time guidance, real-time transcription is on there. But again, you guys are actually doing it, which is pretty awesome. Can you talk about just the start of your company then too? Like, how did you, how did you from the entrepreneurial side actually start? When did you guys start? And then let's start to get into the technology and those types of things of what you guys are actually doing.
Yeah, sure. So to start, what's really interesting is that the real-time transcription is the table stakes, right? We've had real-time
Mm-hmm.
transcription since Siri, or even before then, with Nuance, and the things that they've been doing. What was it, Dragon Speak back in the
Yeah.
day?
I
Um,
tried that. Tried to write a book with it. Didn't work, but yeah.
See,
Naturally
everyone,
speaking,
I remember
dragging
when
naturally.
everyone when it came out was like, "Oh my God, what things can I do with this?"
Right.
And at the time, it was exciting but underpowered, but it existed. So the magic isn't the real time transcription, because that's widely available. The magic isn't even the real time NLP NLU of figuring
Mm-hmm.
out exactly labeling what's happening in the conversation, pulling out intents. The magic is pairing those intents with real time actionable recommendations that you can give the agent that isn't. I was talking to one of the big CCAS companies the other day that's working on what they call agent assist, what we call real time guidance. And they said, Mark, the problem with our agent assist is it's not really agent assist, it's agent annoy. And
Mm-hmm.
that's the magic, is how can you figure out how to actually deliver these recommendations in a way that agents want to use and want to take. So when we started the company, that was the real problem we were solving. It was January of 2017. It was three guys in a room. We had maybe 75 square feet. I remember we were paying $275 a month for the office space. And I told that to my stepmom when she asked how the new business was, and she literally spit out her coffee. She couldn't believe it. Um, and that's how it started. And then we have two business side founders, me and Chris Contes, our COO, and then one technical founder, Davidson Gerard, who brings the NLP, NLU, ASR experience, and he's been doing different sort of AI algorithms for easily 5 or 6 years, and has been doing engineering around audio engineering for over a decade.
No, that's a pretty solid team. Um, I want to talk about that. Again, that's another good lead in here is getting into the technology. Let's talk about the three products, because right now your agent guidance is kind of your core product now, and we're going to kind of announce and on the 9th you're coming out, and we're going to really talk about the QA product, real time QA, real time coaching, and I want to talk about those too. But let's talk about the real time guidance. I mean, I took a demo with you, and it kind of blew me away. Because again, this is the stuff that I've been asking for from the industry, and I think you guys are starting to really actually do it. Um, can you just again, I guess from a high level, kind of just talk about the technology? I mean, I know that we just kind of talked about again the real time transcriptions there, but how did you then again nuance that so that every organization can kind of make it their own, right,
Mm-hmm.
and make it useful for them?
Yep. So broadly, the technology we built, real-time guidance, what it's doing is it's analyzing conversations with the agent and the customer live while they're happening, picking up in that moment everything the agent says as they say it, picking up everything the customer says as the customer says it. And in the moments that are make or break moments, the things that lead to revenue or lead to happy customers versus frustrated customers, or lead to compliance versus not compliance, Balto gives a recommendation about how they can be as effective as possible. So the different pieces there, you have real-time speech to text. And in order for it to be a very low memory application, we actually do that in the cloud. So we have a desktop app which allows us to do some really cool stuff with audio routing and audio processing, and have a under 100 millisecond latency for capturing the audio stream, which is very tricky as is.
Mm-hmm.
So we shoot the audio stream up to the cloud. We do real-time speech to text. And then on that text, we do real-time NLP, where we're essentially classifying different events in that stream of text as the events are happening. So a couple different methods of classification we have. One of them we call phrase matching, which is simply looking for similarity in whatever text you are writing that you're looking for. So maybe it's someone saying, hey, my name is Mark. How can I help you today? Right. And you write that out in your playbook and you recommend that to the agent, and phrase match will say, look for that being said or anything kind of similar to that.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, my name is Mark. What can I do for you today? Hey, my name is Mark. How can I help? Right. Hey, my name is Mark. How may I help you? All of those sort of variants, and basically looking at that similarity we call phrase match. And then the second big, powerful way that we're able to provide essentially classification across industries is what we call our AI library. And that is over 100 trained topics that we've trained internally across millions of phone calls, over 70 million phone calls. And those are the topics that are broadly applicable across customers, across verticals. It just so happens that frustrated customers sound frustrated no matter what vertical they're frustrated about.
Shocking.
So,
Right.
frustrated customer, easy one to pick up, across verticals. Someone saying that you're too expensive, easy one to pick up across verticals. Someone having an ethics complaint saying that
Mm-hmm.
you guys aren't doing business ethically, or there's going to be a better business bureau problem, easy to pick up. So that allows us to essentially create this drag and drop builder, very simple, where you don't need to be an IT person, you don't need to know how to code, you don't need to know syntax. You just can click a button and say, pick up someone asking about budget, and boom, Balto will pick up thousands of different variants of people, talking about that topic. So you got the speech to text, you got the NLP, and then the NLP has those two different types of classification, and then it will show the agent a recommendation on their desktop, on their computer screen, right there in real time.
Of where to go next with the call, what question to ask, what statement to make to the customer to kind of move that down the path.
Yeah. And Tom, what's so interesting is you said, what question to ask, what statement to make. And part of our philosophy is we don't suggest one answer, because that's how you start getting your agents sounding like robots. If in response to the customer, they have a predetermined paragraph that they read out, we'll give them options and we'll say, hey, in this scenario, here's a few different questions you could try. Here's a few different statements you could use. And of course, the only exception to that is something that's regulatory, where you must say that exact statement. But in general, our philosophy is give the agents autonomy to do what they're best at. And that's how you have a good agent experience, by the way. You're not going to make agents happy and excited to use this technology if it becomes the big brother technology. You need to give them options. And, Tom, to your point that you brought up in the beginning of the call, that's one of the things that when you are doing real-time guidance for real, you get into that nuance when you're not just demoing it because it's in beta and you're going to release it in a couple of years, but you're really doing it with a broad customer base. That's something that immediately stands out to you, that says we need to give these agents autonomy to make decisions in the call. It's not a scripting tool. We call Balto the anti-script, because you're giving guidance, you're not giving like specific recommendations.
Mark, what about sentiment? When does that come in? Is that something that is still down the road that is very difficult to do? I mean, we know we can kind of see specific word choices and what people are saying. Is there a way to start to kind of sense the tone of the customer as well, to kind of really kind of, I guess, kind of show what their intent is with their question? Is that something that the technology is not there yet? Is it there yet? Like, where does that come into play?
Yeah. It's really funny that most of the time when people think about sentiment analysis, they think about tone, right? And I often compare it to Peanuts, where the parents used to always sound like boop, 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 right?
Right.
And the question then is, what's the most important thing for the AI to pick up on in order to understand truly the sentiment of that individual? Is it those vocal variations? And a lot of people think it is. And there's some great companies out there that have invested a lot in tone analysis, in the intonation. But our philosophy right now, and we would love to build out tone once we can, as we continue to advance our platform, we will. But our philosophy right now is that in most scenarios, the tone follows the words. And of course, the exceptions is like humor, sarcasm, and things like that. but very rarely does someone say, I'm so frustrated with you. Like usually they go
Right,
together.
right, right.
So the sentiment analysis, we have pretty robust sentiment analysis, picking up things like empathy, picking up things like active listening, picking up things like frustration and interest, and even laughter. So we're able to pick up all those sort of things, and we do it through our transcription model rather than through tonal analysis.
Gotcha. No, that makes total sense. Let's talk about the stuff that I'm super, super excited with now, and I know you guys are too. And they're kind of a ham and egg product, right? So the real time coaching, real time QA. I don't even want to describe it because I'm sure you can describe it way better than me. As we've had a bunch of calls on it. So why don't you talk about that a little bit? Because that's another product that I think is something that people are talking about, but you guys again are actually doing.
Yeah, Tom, I don't know. I think the ham and egg description is pretty good. um, it's pretty spot on. So it's so funny because we built this real time guidance for agents. And the natural question that everyone asks is, oh my God, that's amazing. Can we have real time for managers? And we
Mhm.
said, well, you have real time after the fact reporting for managers. People said, well, if you're doing it for agents, why can't you do it for managers? So we spent a lot of time investing in what exactly would that product look like. Just how we've made sure we don't overload agents with things they don't want to see. How do we make sure that we don't overload managers with things they don't want to see? So how do we make it an experience that when a manager gets a notification from Balto in real time, they're able to do something useful to help their organization have excellent conversations. That's our entire the vision and philosophy of our business is scaling out excellent conversations. And we think that the conversation is the atomic unit of business. That's the thing that connects the customer with the organization is the conversation. So what we built is real time for managers. We call it real time coaching. And what you can do is, as a manager, you can set a trigger and say, for one agent or a group of agents or entire organization, whenever this thing comes up, send me a notification in real time. And now, when the notification comes up, I want to be able to click it and listen to the call right there in the moment, live listen. Um, and if you're having this real time transcription, I should be able to go back in time and see how we got here and look at the real time transcript. So we provided those things where you can set a trigger, get a notification, live listen right there in the moment, and even go back and read the real time transcript. And then you're able to close the loop by chatting the agent through the application. Just how they're receiving recommendations from Balto, now there's a new type of recommendation they can receive from the manager coaching them in real time. And the way that we think about this is, how do we replicate those moments that we all love, that we love as coaches, that we love as agents, that we love as parents. Think about when you're coaching a kid in your soccer game. I think, Tom, I remember hearing that I think you coach a soccer team, and I think that's right. And someone, your son or daughter gets a pass, and you say, great, drive, shoot, and they shoot and they score, and that's a moment you had together. Well, we want to
Right.
create that same moment in the contact center where the manager isn't doing this hierarchical punishment coaching session, but
Right.
instead is working with the agent to help them win right there on the call. So boom, instantly someone, frustrated customer, happens on the other end of the phone. Manager gets a notification, frustrated customer. Manager lives, listens, reads the transcript, and says, hey, acknowledge. You got to acknowledge the problem. You can't just try to solve it first. And the agent says, got it. And boom, now the agent and the manager are on that call, winning together to produce excellent conversations.
Yeah, it's a big culture shift. I mean, the last episode that we did, kind of talking about that, how important it is to not have QA be, I mean, Big Brother. Now, granted, this is probably Big Brother times 100, but I think it can be done in a really good way, or
Yeah.
not in a good way, but you know what I mean. Like it's a tool that I think does breed positive experiences from QA because they can be so negative. And the other thing is, I don't want to say it's going to totally take away the whole, me and the rep sitting in a room listening to a call. Those are still going to happen, but a lot of those are going to be fixed now, and they're going to be able to be better experiences that we're having because we're fixing things in real time, which is pretty amazing. With that, again, I guess this would be more the egg part of it, right? Is the real time QA. So the point where I know scorecards can be set up extremely quickly, and really, it's taking that QA aspect and saying, really 100% of your calls, can be listened to, can be monitored, can be somewhat scored.
Mm-hmm.
Can you again talk about that? I think this is where the industry is going, and this is something that I know so many listeners out there are probably saying, why didn't we talk about this one first? Because this is a big, I think it's a big shift to what we're doing now. And if you can kind of talk about the difference too, right? So how we're doing things now as an industry to where you guys are trying to push this with your new tool.
Totally. So if we start with what is the fundamental purpose of QA? Like, why do organizations set up a QA program? I think there's one very positive reason and two less pleasant negative reasons. The positive reason is bonusing and rewarding agents who are doing well. That's a wonderful thing. And that's something that the QA department should do more of. The negative reasons, of course, are finding good agents who made a bad call, or finding bad agents or agents who aren't quite a fit making a bad call. And of course, for that second group, bad agents who made a bad call, the reason that you're scoring is to try to identify trends and patterns that the agent is habitually underperforming, so you're able to move them out of the organization. It really is it's a positive turnover play, but that's a painful mechanism to have in your business of having a department that is trying to turn over a part of the organization. And then on the other side, good agents that are making a bad call, that is something where you're essentially calling out your top people for some painful mistakes that we all make. So then we want to ask, how do we help the good agents not have bad calls? And we think real-time coaching is a great way to do that. And then how do we help all agents get scored and bonused and earn as much as they possibly can to bring home better paychecks for themselves and their families? So with that said, we looked at that philosophy and we said we want to invent real-time QA, which is just like real-time guidance, analyzing calls, QAing calls while they are actually happening, and giving supervisors or QA leaders up to the second information on how every call is scoring for 100% of calls. We've tossed around this stat for a while now in the contact center space that, on average, organizations are QAing maybe 2% of calls, typically two calls per month on the low end, 8 calls per month on the high end, in general. And does that mean that 98% of your calls you're not listening to and you're just hoping nothing bad happened on those calls? It's time to make sure that 100% of calls are scored, that you have visibility on 100% of calls. So we have automated that part of the process. People are too good to be box checkers and sitting through listening to call recordings, saying yes, demonstrated professionalism, yes, acknowledge the customer's issue and said they can help. Like, that's something a machine can do. What people are supposed to do is, once those scores are created, dig into the patterns. What exactly is happening? Why is it happening? This call is flagged as being a problematic call. What should we do about it? That's where we should be spending our QA resources, the cognitive tasks, not the repetitive scoring tasks. So Balto says scoring's not for people, scoring is for machines. Those sort of cognitive tasks and pattern recognition among how to improve performance in your organization and improve quality organization, that's the human task. So we've automated 100% of scoring.
I've already started in my organization to move our QA to basically analytics managers, and that's kind of what they're called here too. Right now, we're still looking in the past, right? But we are, kind of categorizing different things, and when certain things come up, we're not listening to them real time. We're listening to them historically. But I think the shift is there, right? I think the shift is moving, especially from the forward-looking contact centers, away from exactly what you're saying of actually just going, and that's a 1 through 5, that's a 1 through 3, that's a yes, no, and actually getting to the point of how are you making a difference? instead of just sending those dreaded scores out to the floor, right? That have already been done. You might have a rep who's in a totally different frame of mind, and it becomes an issue. So no, I'm really excited about that aspect of what you guys are doing, meaning, the industry is moving that way as well. And I love the empowerment that we're doing here with agents, right? Where everybody's talking about AI and analytics and all these tools taking over for agents. But I think, we're really starting to see at least the first piece of this is the empowerment of agents.
Yeah.
Where does this go? Where you are today, I mean, look into your crystal ball, right? And see Balto, I don't know, 5 or 10 years down the road with some of the technologies that are coming out, with some of the either competitors or, people that you respect in the industry as well. What does it look like? What does QA, what does that contact center look like, in that 5 to maybe even 10-year period?
Yeah. So Tom, it's really funny because I have a contact center podcast that I host too, Reimagine the Contact Center. And the last question I ask in every episode is, what do you think the contact center of 2030 looks like? So I've heard so many good perspectives on where the contact center is going in general, and what will be automated, what will still be in people's hands. So when I look at Balto's vision and what we want to do, I am anchored toward helping organizations have excellent conversations with their customers. Just like how Jeff Bezos said, there are a couple things that you want to look at, the things that never change in your business, that people want things fast, they want things inexpensively, and they want good quality. Those are examples of things that people always want. I think that organizations wanting to have good conversations with their customers is an always thing. So then we have to say, if organizations are always going to want good conversations with their customers, what kind of conversations and where are they having them? Because there's a conversation, over the voice channel. There's a conversation over chat and over text and over email and over social. And I even think that someone doing self-service on your website is a conversation of sorts. It's just you've had your part of the conversation ahead of time, and then they're self-selecting what kind of conversation they want to have as they're going about having it. But all of these are ways that businesses are connecting with their customers in order to have that exchange of knowledge, information, products, services, value, all that. So Balto is going to be omni-channel. The contact centers, very quickly shifting toward omni-channel, or very slowly, depending on
Right.
how you think about it. But certainly shifting toward omni-channel communications. So Balto is going to be across all channels. And then you also want to think about, well, what does it take to make conversations excellent? And we still want to focus on supercharging the agent. It's funny because I was thinking about people always ask, oh, are you just going to automate away the agent? And I thought about that and was like, think about the number of things that an agent does every day and the number of different types of conversations and nuances of conversations that they're having. It is tremendous. I think that we're going to see a world where we automate the managers before we automate the agents. Not trying to automate anyone though, right now. But I think that the safety of the agent role, I think, is there. And really, it's just going to change of what channels are people interacting on, and what volumes are agents experiencing for in-person service versus self-service. But we'll be across all channels, and we'll be focused on having excellent conversations by using data to figure out what is making customers delighted and what is not, and what message is resonating with your customers and what is not.
Let me ask you this as kind of, and I probably should have asked this before, and probably because that was such a good answer to have that have been the last answer. But I'm a BPO. There's a lot of listeners that are BPOs as well, and we are definitely a nuanced type of contact center because we have different clients that have different needs, anywhere from tech support to finance to retail to healthcare. How does your product? I mean, could it easily come into my contact center? across different channels, different verticals? Or is this, is this kind of a internal contact center where we're taking certain type of calls? Can you just kind of talk to those two groups?
Yeah, we love BPO clients.
Okay.
And broadly, what do you need as a BPO? You need to launch new campaigns quickly. You need to revise your campaigns as new information comes about quickly. And you need to provide really good insights back to your clients. So you're not just an order taker who is taking phone calls and that's that, but you're able to elevate your status with your clients as a partner, somebody that they trust, and you can't elevate your status without providing them things that they do not know about their business and could not know, except for the fact that you're able to get that knowledge for them. So all of those things are things that Balto is particularly adept at. And you want to ramp up agents quickly and revise campaigns as you go and provide insights to your clients in a somewhat uniform way. Like, you obviously want to have white glove service to an extent, make sure you're personalizing campaigns for your clients, but you don't want to completely rethink how agents should interact with customers every single time you bring on a new client. You need to have a methodology. You need to have an approach that's consistent and scalable. Otherwise, think about how inefficient it would be to launch new campaigns if you didn't have a way that your organization communicated with customers in general. And that's one of the things that BPOs or that your clients are buying when they buy you, is they buy how you teach your agents to communicate with customers, and they trust that. So, can you bake in a methodology that will go across all campaigns with the ability to ramp up agents quickly and iterate as the campaigns go on and provide insights back to your clients? With Balto, the answer is 100% yes to all those questions.
I could actually, really see this lessening training times too, right? So, not that they're not going to have to be fully trained, but if they forget something or if there's something that's just not there, there's kind of your buddy behind you that's coming on to kind of help you kind of make a decision, or at least be like, oh yeah, that's what I got to do next.
Yeah, and we see crazy stats around reducing training times, or rather, not necessarily reducing training time, because we want folks to get their full training, but specifically ramp up time to
The
full
ramp, right?
proficiency
To
when you're
to
out
get
of
the
the
full
nesting
proficiency,
period. Exactly.
right? Well, hey, I know you guys, today that we're launching this on the 9th, have a website set up for this launch. And I don't know if you know I will have, if any of the listeners are watching this on video, we'll have the link will be here, right below Mark. But Mark, do you have the website for the release that you'd like to announce?
Definitely. So our website is balto.ai. That's the company. And this website announcement, or this release announcement, will be at woof, WOOF, woof.balto.ai/boom. Woof.balto.ai/boom. So we're leaving a little bit of mystery there. And if you can type in the URL, congrats, you found it. And we'd love to see you sign up and love to see you at the event.
Yeah, I know there's over, I believe, 200 to 250 contact centers have already signed up to see that. So again, make sure that if you're listening to that, that you check that out. Mark, can you just if anybody wants to follow you, Twitter, LinkedIn, anything that you'd like to give from a social standpoint, I'd love to, throw that out. We'll put this in the show notes as well. But for anybody listening, if you want to follow Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Tom. It's going to be best on LinkedIn, and I'm linkedin.com/in/Balto CEO.
Awesome. Mark, thank you. This has been super fun, super informative. I know that this is going to, get people's minds going, right? And thinking about what's actually happening, what you guys are doing. Hopefully you guys go to the website, check it out, go do a demo. I did a demo and it really shocked me on the technology that you guys are doing. It's something, again, for call center nerds and call center geeks and people that have been in the industry. It's things that I think we've been asking for that are finally starting to really come to fruition. So again, thank you for what you guys are doing. I wish you the best of luck. Thank you so much for coming on, and we'll talk.
See, Tom, you too. I've been following your content for over a year. Love everything you put out. So it really is a pleasure to be here with you.
All right, Mark, thank you so much. Best of luck. Thanks for coming on.
You too.